Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, welcome back to another edition of my videos, and today I've got my game against the #1 seed in my group. This was a really nice game. I thought I played extremely well in this, but I'll let you be the judge. As I say, to kind of get you to understand the stakes of this particular match, it was a must-win match as I'd already dropped 2 games in my group, and with it being only one person advancing to the next round, I needed to win pretty much every other game to ensure I had a good chance of progressing. So let's see if I was able to do it. As I say, I did play well, but was I able to do enough to get to the next round? So I was playing on the black side. We had e4, c5 was played, and knight to c3. So this is a signifier of the closed Sicilian. So you're generally not going to get any many pawn breaks like you would. Well, you would get the pawn exchanges like you would in normal Sicilians, and creating these sort of semi-open positions. Instead, there's not going to be any pawn exchanges early on, and everything's going to be all clogged up, which is very, very fun to play in. But anyway, so I just developed normally. I did g6 in this particular line to get my bishop onto this nice long diagonal. Bishop e2, I'm not too sure I like this move all that much. Well, let's put it this way. It's the 9th most popular move, and there's only 8 games from this position. So essentially, yeah, I'm not too sure I like this move. It's not a particularly ambitious development from my opponent. It's not bad in any way, but it's a little bit passive looking, if I'm being honest with you. So bishop e2 was played anyway. I played d6. As I say, I got on with my sort of systematic development. We have this weird looking b3 followed by bishop b2. So this almost looks tiny bit similar to that of the Snyder variation of the Sicilian. So this is actually an anti-Sicilian line. But regardless, it's a very, very odd development from my opponents so far. In any case, so he now plays knight to d5. Very, very odd move. But I guess he's got a plan to try and exchange off a couple of sets of minor pieces. So after I played e6, we then have all these exchanges. But, the position's pretty much equal now. My queen controls all the dark squares here. The position's very close. It's going to be all about sort of manoeuvring my pieces around, not so much about activity at this point. But, yeah, I was quite happy, actually, at this point. As I say, we've exchanged off a few minor pieces, but as I say, I've got nice control of the centre. These dark squares are under my control at the minute. Without these dark squared bishops on the board, I've got the nice domination on these squares. So let's see how I was able to take advantage of that. So a4 was played, so he's now expanding on the queen side. So I decided to put a stop to that with a6. c3 was played. I played e5. I wanted to release my bishop on here to get it out along this diagonal, so I decided to go there. I also had ideas maybe going to e6 as well. So castles, queen to c2. I put my bishop to g4. So yeah, that's pretty good. d3, b5 was played. There was a couple of exchanges. So we have this opening of this a file now. I put my rook onto to b8. Queen came to b2. b4 was played. So my idea here was I wanted to try and force my opponent to close up the position. As if he does this, it allows me to have this jumping square for my knights. So in any case, if he does capture this way, there's a couple of exchanges here, but I get my knights onto this square anyway, so that's pretty good. And I've given him an isolated pawn, so in all, b4 actually quite a really nice move. But he plays c4 here. Very happy to see this move, as it now gives me the d4 square. So and this I guess is in one of the kind of rare cases where the knights are better than the bishops here, because I decided to exchange off my bishop. He took back with his bishop, and I jump my knight into d4. So I've got a total domination over this bishop, and he hasn't got anything he can really do. He has to really come back to d8, which is very sad. There's nothing much better really. He could play bishop to g4. After which, I could go after it with things like h5 and just harass it, and the bishop will look very sad on h3. But yeah, bishop to d1. The threat is obviously if I capture here, I'm going to open up white's king side, and it's going to be pretty much game over in a closed position like this. So he puts his bishop back to d1, and notice all of these squares are totally dominated by the knight. So this bishop not looking too good. He hasn't really got much he can really do here. So I put my queen to g5 now. Interestingly, there's a very nice idea here that I could have played for in this position, and that was the move queen to d8. And essentially, my plan would be to try and exchange off as many of these pieces off as possible, and then we're left with an imbalance where I've got those really good knights versus this pretty poor bishop. I mean, look at the bishop. He's got all of his pawns on the wrong squares, or wrong colours, I should say. This knight, it's just amazing. It's just an amazing knight. So I'll just show you an example continuation, something like this. This was just sort of an engine recommendation. So we have these sort of exchanging this really nice rook lift, obviously defended by this queen to d8. So that's the whole idea of playing this move. And after these exchanges, I gain control of this crucial file. And as I say, my knight still dominating the bishop, so all really good. Queen comes back to b1. This would be a nice way to try and infiltrate. And now these two pieces are tied up to here. So really, it's all about now, how do I improve my position to put me into a very, very favourable endgame. So, just sort of some ideas, bits of dancing around. White has got nothing better he can do here. If he starts dramatically opening up the position, he's going to come get a nasty shock in this game. So, this is the sort of position. It's, black has still got a good edge here. He's improved the position of his king, and he'll be looking to at some point start going for these pawn breaks to really start laying in the pain against white. So going back to what was actually played. So I played queen to g5 anyway, which is actually fine as well. My idea was I wanted to play f5 here and start opening up this file to then start attacking against this king. So g3 was played, f5, played h4, put my queen back to f6, king to g2, played f4 now. So now things are going to start opening up very, very quickly. Rook to e2 here. A2, sorry. And here I played a slight inaccurate move. I played pawn to f3, which the computer doesn't seem to like very much, but I can't see why it's so bad, to be honest with you. As it now, this whole this pawn is acting like a total wedge in white's position. Now this bishop is totally trapped out of the game. It likes the move f takes g3. Oh no, it likes f3 now. So earlier it said it was an inaccuracy when I looked at this game, but now it likes this move. So okay, fair enough. It likes this move now. So I thought I was right. Okay, then g5 was played. He played h5 here. I played g4 to sort of close up this this area. In actual fact, the computer really likes the move queen to f7. It's now going after this pawn, and after a move like g4, we have obviously these exchanges. The queen coming to e6, where it's now going to be hitting this pawn. If the king comes to h3, then you can start to slowly take control of this position. There is very little that white can do in this position. He hasn't even got any adequate counterplay to take me on. So going back So g4, slight inaccuracy, but again, I think my position is still very dominant here. He puts his rook to b1, so now I've got to exchange, and I put my queen to g5. So my threat is simple. I'm going to just take this h5 pawn. Queen comes to d2, I now capture, and the king comes to g1. And here, I've got a nice sort of mating attack potentially coming into here. Of course, white is just in a nick of time able to parry this threat, but the problem for me, well, I guess what I didn't like in this position is I didn't really like the queen maybe coming to g5. So here I played the move h6, and I'll block this route for the queen. It's overly cautious, I would say. I should actually just go for the mating attack here. So there's a declared mate in 15 here, goes a little bit something like this. Rook to f8. I'll just show you the declared line just so you have an idea of what's going on. Queen to e1, rook to f6. So just basically a slow plan. White will throw in some checks, but it's no good whatsoever. The king will just slowly inch his way into his shelter in e6. And just something like this, there's no way you can stop this mating attack. So that's, in fact, white will just have to start sacrificing stuff at this point. So going back, instead of that, what did I play? Well, so I played h6 instead after this. I think, as I say, I was worried about this, but in actual fact, this is absolutely no threat. I can actually just go for queen to h3. And, if he starts trying to throw loads of checks in, it's no good for white. It looks as though he'll get some sort of perpetual going here, but as I say, after this I can come here. If the queen comes to h8 trying to win the rook, it's no good, because after I come to f7, he actually will find himself in a bit of trouble here, as well. If he captures this rook, it's mate and 1, so he can't do that. In fact, he has to now do that to sacrifice the queen to stop the mates just for a moment. So definitely not a good variation for him. So yeah, as I say, a little bit overly cautious, but you know what? I'm not too upset that I played h6 here, because I think my position is so good here. I don't want to mess it up, and at least I just want to stop any counterplay from my opponent. Okay, so queen to e1 was played to try and maybe come round and try and defend this square. I put my king to f7, so I just want to get it, as I say, into a safe position. He throws in the check, and now my king is very safe and snug in his little pawn shelter. Very nice. It's got a nice little roof over his head. Lovely. So as I say, I'm not taking any chances in this position. So now the rook comes to g7, trying to maybe do just do some annoying checks along here. But now I put my rook to a8, and my rook now infiltrates onto the a file. Again, notice this bishop, he's got nowhere he can go to. So I've just got the simple threat of just coming down with the rook, and I could even just capture this bishop, and after the queen captures, then start jumping in. Notice my knight can aid in the attack as well, so there's nothing that black can do here. So at this point there is a declared mate in 8. You're welcome to try and solve it if you want to pause the video to try and see if you can, but in any case, bishop to c2 was played in the game, and here I captured the knights. It's not the most accurate way of winning this. A quicker way would have been just playing queen to h3 and going that way. I can actually ignore this bishop, would you believe it? But I captured here, and after the queen came to c1 to try and do just something. I had many ways I could win this position, but I thought the most simple way would be queen to h3 now. So yeah, basically there's nothing that white can do in this position. If he comes back with the queen, I've got a very, very nice mating here. I could do it two ways. I could play either rook to a1 and do it this way. And okay, I have to sort of dodge these checks for a little bit. But yeah, that's one way I could play it. After he captures this, I then throw in the mates. Another way I can do it is I can capture the queen, which is even better because after the king captures back, I've got this checkmate here as well. So a very, very nice game. As I say, I thought I played that extremely well. Very happy that I was able to take advantage of the closed position. And then, I just love this little pawn. I thought this was really cute. It's a really, really cute game. I felt quite proud of this win. So, okay. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope I'll see you in the next one where we've got our second game against the #1 seed. Will I be successful? Will I be able to take it to the be able to advance, I should say, to the next round? We'll have to find out in the next video. I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye.